Hello, my name is... Yeah, I'm gonna start that one again. Hello, my name is Megan and welcome back to my channel, Adventures with Megan. Today I'm going to be talking you through what I take with me when I travel in my first aid kit. So if you've not met me before, hello, my name is Megan, nice to meet you. I like to make videos on packing tips, on travelling, on all things related to that, and I'm also a doctor. So I'm hoping that this video will be informative and it will help you in your decisions when you are travelling. A disclaimer before I start, obviously I am a doctor but I'm not your own healthcare professional, so please don't ask me any personal medical questions in the comments because I won't be able to answer them, and this first aid kit is based on what I feel that I need that helps me with my health when I travel, and I realise that different people have different needs when they travel, so please tailor this to best suit your own medical needs. So this little guy is my first aid kit. So the pouch itself is from Muji. I bought it when it was in Japan, and it's this little pouch that's like waterproof type material, which is useful because I've got creams in here, so if any of these creams split or spill, it won't go over the rest of my bag. So I'm going to work through all the different components of this little first aid kit and tell you what I take and why. First of all, I'm going to start off with the tablet medications. So this is a little pill box that I got from Amazon. I will link down below as many things as I can to try and help you guys. And this is just like a little dosette box that I find helpful when I am travelling. As you will see with these medications, I've taken them out of their boxes and put them in this little dosette box and labelled them myself. I personally have not had any issues with this going through customs, going through security, but obviously look into the destinations you're going to and the type of medications you're taking to see if this will be appropriate for you as well. So moving through the medications in my little pouch, I have paracetamol. So paracetamol is just a staple for me. So if you've got a fever, if you're not feeling well, if you've got a headache, paracetamol is a non-negotiable for me, and also it can be really expensive when you buy it abroad. Don't know if you've ever been to Norway. Take your own paracetamol to Norway. £6 for a packet of paracetamol. I absolutely cannot with that. So that's the paracetamol. I also have some cocodamol in here, so I have 8 500s in here. So it's paracetamol and codeine together in case I have really bad pain, but normally paracetamol is fine with me. I have eczema, hay fever and asthma, so I take my inhalers with me as well, and creams that I'll go on to later. But I always have some sort of antihistamine, so non-sedating antihistamine, so I normally have loratadine with me, which helps with those. It also helps if you've got mosquito bites as well that are super itchy, because it's the histamine released from the mast cells that is causing the itchiness. So if you take an antihistamine as well as using the steroid cream that I'll come on to, it will help with overall itchiness. I have loperamide, which is the same as... what's the brand name for it? Diorolite? No. Alexa, what's the brand name for loperamide? Imodium. So it basically bums you up when you've got diarrhea, which can happen quite a lot when you're travelling. I then also have a couple of anti-sickness tablets. Sometimes on boats and sometimes on buses I get a bit travel sick, so I have Dramamine that I got from Mexico that you actually can't buy in the UK, but I find it really useful, so I have that in here. And on Danzatron, which you can get in the UK, but prescription only. Again, I got this over the counter in Mexico. I would say if you find medications that work for you in another country and it is legal to bring them back into your own country, then I would hop on that because that's really handy for me. I then also have little sachets of Pocari Sweat. So if you have ever been to Southeast Asia, it is a very humid place at times, and replacing your electrolytes is very important, as well as replacing your water so that you don't flush out all your electrolytes and get hyponatremia and then have a real bad time. Pocari Sweat is something that has electrolytes in Southeast Asia, and I've got little sachets of it that I got from a camping shop in Japan randomly. But I find these really useful just to mix in to some water that helps replenish my electrolytes, and I think there's carbohydrates in this as well. So I have a few sachets of these in my bag. I also have tablet electrolytes, so these don't have any calories in, they have got sweeteners in, so they don't taste that great, but these are good like if I've been for a run and I'm eating and I don't need like carbohydrates alongside the electrolytes. I also use these. Moving on to injuries and ailments, I have a little pouch that has plasters in, it has antibacterial wipes in, like plasters of different sizes, and this is what I use like if I fall over, if I graze my knee. For example, when I was in Tasmania and I was doing the Cape Hoy walk and I tripped over and like got a hold of my leggings and whatnot, I had my first aid kit with me so that I could anti-bac wipe my knee and then put a dressing over it. I also have some surgical tape. So this tape I personally think is better than Micropore because I think it's waterproof, this tape. It seems to stick better, so I will put a little link for the Amazon way that you can purchase this in the description box. And then blister wise, I normally carry blister plasters, I think, inside this little pouch, but I also have this little thing from Compeed that helps to prevent blisters. I get blisters so easily. My feet swell up in the heat so easily. I now wear compression socks, which, as an FYI, massively helps with blisters and swelling. Please make sure you've got arterial sufficiency in your legs before putting compression socks on so it doesn't cut off your blood supply. But I find this Compeed really good to help prevent blisters happening in the first place. Moving on to the different creams I mentioned. So essentially I have an anti for everything. So I have an antibacterial, I have a steroid cream for like anti-inflammation, I've got Epimax for my eyelids, I've got an antifungal, I've got an antiviral. So I'll go through all of these. These are obviously liquids, but because they're so small, I've just been putting them not in a liquids bag when I've been going through security, and they've not been flagged. Obviously, risk it if you want to. Don't take my word for it that you'll be fine and won't have to separate these as liquids, but I personally have not had an issue with it so far. So first of all, I have Savlon cream. I don't know if this is just a UK thing, but it's antiseptic cream. So if you fall over doing a hike in Tasmania and you want to try and prevent infection in your knee, antibacterial cream is useful for that. I then have hydrocortisone cream. So this is really useful. Don't use it on your face. This is really useful for stings, for rashes, things like that. I paid more than £5 for a tube of this morning because I needed a new tube of it. I bought it at a pharmacy. It should not cost that much. I should have gone to Savers, but we live and we learn. But I always carry some hydrocortisone cream with me. I then just have some Epimax eyelid ointment. I also have tacrolimus for my eyelid that is prescribed by the GP because I just get like really bad eczema on my eyelid, but this does help if I don't have any tacrolimus with me. Next I have antifungal cream, so if your feet get hot and sweaty and don't dry properly in hot and humid conditions, you can get athlete's foot really easily, so I have antifungal cream for that. And then finally I have antiviral cream, so I have a Cyclovir, which is cold sore cream. I would highly recommend, if you are prone to cold sores, taking some of this cream with you. So when I went to Canada, you can't buy this stuff over the counter, you need a doctor's prescription. So if you are prone to cold sores, I would advise taking some with you. And then finally, at the bottom of my first aid kit, I always carry safety pins. Safety pins always come in useful. I did a sponsored bee walk yesterday, people were dressed up as bees. Someone's wings came off and I was ready with my safety pins to offer their assistance. You never know when safety pins might need to be used, so I always take these with me. I've never had an issue getting them through security with the little pin on, so I would highly recommend safety pins. So that is everything I personally take with me in my first aid kit. What do you take with you in your first aid kit? Do you take any more than that? Do you take any less than that? Are there any extras that you think would be really useful to have in your first aid kit? Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.